Tonight's technical talk is the first part of Precursilio. So there are three parts, and that will be for three, the next succeeding months. And brothers and sisters, due to time constraint, there will be no questions tonight. What I would like you to do is please write your questions, comments, and concern and give it to me or to our SOL chairperson and to your team reps, and we will answer your questions with the help, of course, of our spiritual advisor.
Tapos na?
You're part of it. Thank you.
There are three stages in the Cursilio movement. So the first stage is the Precursilio, the Cursilio, and the Post-Cursilio. These three parts constitute an organic unity. Everyone who serves in the Cursilio movement should be aware of the tremendous consequences when one of these parts is weakened or does not function well. Similarly, any improper adaptations of these parts can stagnate, even bring about the demise of the Cursilio movement and the diocese. A Precursilio is the study of environments and searching of influential all right, also financial. In the environments. The Precursilio is also responsible for the preparation of the person who will attend Cursilio with a view toward a perennial living of the Cursilio and the post-Cursilio. In order to carry out an effective and well-oriented Precursilio, it is important to know exactly the purpose of the Cursilio movement, the leavening of environments with the gospel. It is so not by means of a direct or global action in all the Christians, but by choosing from among them those who have a required characteristics, those who seem to have potential to become the living vertebrae that encourage human communities and bring them to Christ. These are persons with personality and maturity who influence their environment by example of their daily living. During the Precursilio, individuals are prepared for the Cursilio and the Post-Cursilio. And they should come from a pre-existing community in which they are already a backbone and have the capacity of vertebrate the Christianity, to ferment the environment with the gospel. They should be prepared in such a way that they will be ready to understand, live, and accept the message of the 3 days. The Cursilio movement looks for the individual to form community within the environment. And the mentality of Cursilio is to transform the person into being Christian so that he or she, once transformed, can Christianize his or her environment. Before introducing the Cursilio movement in a diocese, it needs to be approved by the bishop. It is important to inform the diocesan clergy about the purpose and accomplishment of the Cursilio movement to encourage their approval and support. It is important to let the pastors know the essence and purpose of the Cursilio movement in order to dispel any erroneous ideas that may exist. The Filipino Cursilio, our Cursilio, has been approved by the Bishop of the Oakland Diocese. The coordinated plan of action of the Cursilio movement for a city, diocese, region, or a country must be mapped out according to the pastoral plan and must always orient the pre-concilio and the concilio towards the post-concilio. In essence, all this is carried out through each concrete person with an apostolic plan. This apostolic plan should not be complicated. Since our life should be an apostolic one, something that we live, and our pilgrimage towards our Father is the precursio towards others. What we mean is that in dealing with the thing entrusted to us by God, we must plan before doing, since it is not simply a matter of study or selection. And furthermore, we must prepare the instruments and supply the spiritual palaka, that is, to help them discover and simplify the way to the Lord, so that they detect, find, and follow the road to the Lord, all illuminated by the Christian living witness of their sponsors and fellow Corsilistas like you and me. Tonight's topic is the study of environment. So what is environment? Does anybody have any idea what is environment? Any hands?
Air conditioning.
Your friend.
What is it?
So environment, it is the melding or a combination of ideas, people, and circumstances that come together in a certain time and place. The study of the environment will then be the application of the understanding to know the sum of ideas and circumstances that occur in a specific time and place. Therefore, select the candidates with leadership qualities in the environments to transform into Christian ones, and those who have more influence on the changes of structure and human promotion, or particular environments which affect society in a decisive manner. To vertebrate Christianity calls for a projection of the world and its structures and cannot limit itself exclusively to activity within the church and the parish. It is necessary to study the environments, the groups that compose them, and to identify the individuals who are access of these groups. When the lives of these natural leaders are centered in Christ, those who respect them and look up to them for leadership will be forced to examine their own lives in the light of Christ's love and his gift of himself on the cross. In some environments, it is possible to have several levels or groups who either isolate themselves or are isolated by circumstances. Sometimes the only communication between these groups or other levels is when it becomes absolutely necessary to carry out their mutual task. In such cases, we should find the human groups which have the greatest influence in each level. With each of these groups, there can be found certain individuals whose opinions are heard and whose attitudes are respected. These individuals stand out for their sense of responsibility and their ability to attract people. We must remember that the person who will lead the concilio should be capable of being open to discern and to understand the gospel message. A commitment to the love of God, self, and neighbor. Discovering their talents and potentials with a view towards serving the community, capable of living the grace by means of receiving the sacraments and an attitude of progressive conversion. The Christianization of environments depends to a great extent on the proper selection of candidates. For this reason, the selection of candidates is of utmost importance. The criteria for selection must always be based on the effectiveness of the candidates to live in his or her environment and circumstances. The Cursilios are for people of all socials, classes, and economic levels. And the variety of background is one of the reasons for the success of the Cursilian movement. Men and women must be selected for the same reason, taking into account their maturity. And all candidates should be selected in equal basis to their talents may be used to achieve the purpose of the Cursilian movement. Since the Cursilio seeks to help people live what is fundamental for being a Christian, the love of God and neighbor, Cursilio leaders must take care that individuals return to the community that they came from. And within these communities, the Cursilista will be able to continue to grow in Christian love and perfection. Therefore, in this Cursilio weekend, we should have a sufficient number of candidates to represent each group, community, or environment. De Colores.